Hello and welcome to our webinar on Front-End Development Study Program at Noroff. Myself, Shabana Jahan, and Michael John Phillip would be hosting this webinar today. We also have one of our students, Linus, joining us for the webinar. We are the line managers for the Front-End Development Study Program on campus and online respectively. And in this webinar, we'll be discussing a little bit about the structure of the program here at Noroff. We'll give you an overview of the courses that we offer, and also we'll be discussing a little bit about the job opportunities that you'll have when you finish up your course here at Noroff. And we'll also be hearing to some of our students, current students, as well as some of them from the alumni who will then share their insights and experiences with you. So feel free to submit your questions in the comment box and we'll be more than happy to answer you. Right? Okay. So a little bit introduction to what front-end development is all about for those of you who are wondering about. Front-end development, it is all about building web applications and interfaces using a combination of programming languages like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We also focuses on the visual aspects and the user experience of a website. Therefore, it also includes designing the layout, the graphics, and the user interface elements that a user can use to interact with the website. Of course, we also emphasize on creating websites that are responsive across different devices, thereby optimizing it for various screen sizes and resolutions. So that's all about front end in brief. Regarding the location for the study, we offer front-end development study both on campus in the cities of Oslo, Bergen, and Kristiansand. And at the same time, we also have online studies that can be taken full-time as well as part-time. Now, a little bit into the structure of the study program here at Noroff. Noroff offers a 2-year comprehensive study program that spans over 4 semesters. And each semester focuses on specific tools and specific concepts that would enhance your competence as a front-end developer at one single point. And as you can see, there will be 2 exams each year, one after every semester. And by the end of second year, you will already have 2 portfolios that you can use while applying for the jobs. I'll try to explain a little bit about the courses. So the first, in semester 1, we begin with design. Design covers all the universal fundamentals of graphic design. We'll teach you how to wireframe, how to prototype. We introduce you to the Figma software and so on. Then web and communication technology. That's where we introduce you to how you can set up the code editors, a little bit introduction to Git and GitHub, where you can collaborate with other developers, and how to display your projects on the web using NetLifey and things like that. Then we have the HTML and CSS course, which covers almost all the essential concepts of HTML and CSS. And I think by this time already the student knows how to develop simple, static, but visually appealing websites. We then have project methodology. Project methodology is all about, the different project management methods that you use in the industry, the traditional project management methods, the agile, which is the most popular project management method that is used today, and so on. Then we wind up the semester with the semester project 1. Semester 2 then begins with programming foundations and JavaScript, which is like a basic introduction to the JavaScript programming language and also to the basic computer programming. Then we move on with interaction design. Interaction design is where we focus on how to best design a website, by understanding the user goals, by understanding what exactly the user needs. So it's basically a deep understanding of the user experience for the website. We then move on with content management system. Of course, WordPress being the most popular one, we introduce the students to WordPress and some other CMS softwares. Year 1 then finishes up with project exam 1 and portfolio. Then year 2 begins with in-depth concepts of CSS. So CSS frameworks, we have a lot of CSS frameworks, the most popular one being Bootstrap. Then we dive into in-depth concepts of JavaScript. And by this time, the student already knows how to write professional code and how to build comprehensive applications. Then we move to workflow. Workflow is all about the use of tools and technologies that are used to, streamline and automate workflow. We also dive deep into Git and GitHub in this course. Semester 3 then finishes with the semester project 2. We then move with the industry knowledge. Industry knowledge, this is where we best prepare our students for the industry. So we give them the insights to what to expect as a front-end developer in the industry. And we also give them the tips on to how to better find a job and things like that. So it's a very interesting course. Development platforms is all about the different tools and technologies that you can use in the various aspects of web development, right from the traditional databases that we have up to cutting edge artificial intelligence tools. Then we move on to JavaScript frameworks. So React being the most popular, we do have React included. And finally, we finishes up with Project Exam 2 and Portfolio 2. Now, it is also important to understand that there might be few changes in the courses from what it has been mentioned here, because front-end is one field that is constantly evolving. The technology that you see today would not exist tomorrow. So we strive our best to keep updated so as to provide our students with the most relevant education. So it's important to understand that there might be slight changes in the next school year. Moving on, the study approach here at Noroff. We offer different study approaches, of course, but then mainly we are focusing on theory-based, practical-based approach. We offer guidance after every lecture, and at the same time, there is a lot of self-study involved as well. But we give a special emphasis to the practical-based approach because we often collaborate with real clients and other interdisciplinary programs like graphics, UX, and work on different projects so as to ensure that the students are provided with hands-on real industrial experience. So we do emphasize a lot on the practical way of studies. Talking about the prerequisites, as far as front-end at Noroff is considered, we don't need any special prerequisite, but I would emphasize that having basic computer fundamental knowledge and especially the interest in the field would be beneficial and very important to have. I know this slide is not working, but I can. So this was a slide for job opportunities. The front-end developers, they are always in demand, and the demand is only increasing in the near future. And there are like plenty of job opportunities available for the front-end developers today. And it is not limited to just the software companies or the web development companies. You can find jobs in any organizations. So any new company that starts will need a potential front-end developer to either create a website or design a website that they can use to promote their business or their product or their service. So it is not just limited to the front-end development companies or software companies. You can find in design agencies, digital marketing agencies, non-profit business organizations. And I also think front-end is one field that has a lot of potential for remote work as well. So job opportunities are not limited to, but you have a lot of options when it comes to the job opportunities for a front-end developer. Next, I think we will listen to one of my former student. He has something to share with you. Over to Stefan. Can you have the video rolling, please?
Hey everyone, my name is Romano Victor. I studied front-end development at Noroff. I am currently employed as a front-end developer at Hookdeluton. I work on the guest experiences app. During my time at Noroff, I got industry relevant information. I got good guidance as to what would be better and best practices. Within the first year, I was able to write comprehensive websites using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. By the second year, I was writing my own board games with pure JavaScript. which was cool. We also learned about React and different frameworks that are still used today. So I would suggest, if you are looking for a good start to your development career, front-end development at Noroff is a good start. Cheers.
Yeah, so that was Romano Victor. He was my former student and he's doing great with his front-end development career right now. I would also like to show you another success story of one of my students. And as you can see, he was employed at Play and Magnus, PayX full-time, and he's also started working at Fremtend full-time. His current salary is 652K with 7% pension. And he says, wouldn't have made it without Noroff. So thank you so much for that. And yes, I think I'm done with the presentation. Now I'll just hand over to MJ. Michael John, we call him MJ.
Yes. Hi. Hi. Thanks so much for that presentation, Shabana. That was great. I think what we'll do now is we kind of move into like a bit of a discussion between Linus and myself and Shabana, and we can just discuss a bit about the program. And please send any questions in the chat so that we can answer those. It's great to have Linus here to be able to share some of the students' experience so that you can get a good insight into what it is like to study with us. So I work in the online campus for front-end development, and Linus is in August 2021 he started and is finishing up his studies in June this year, so has a good view in terms of how the program runs and how it's changed over time, and kind of where we're at with the delivery of the studies. So I wanted to ask Linus, maybe you can talk a bit about kind of how you balance your studies and your personal life. How do you find that?
Yes. Hello, my name is Linus. Yes, for me, everything is working very fine. I have the opportunity to actually have a remote job right now, so I'm working from home. So it's a little bit easier for me maybe to use the work and school together and combine that with my life and the work and studies, because I don't have to move from a place from work to studies home and so on. But for me, it's working very fine. I use the computer every day, and I think it's very important that you set some rules that when you're at work, you only focus on the work, and when you set the time for studying, you really use that time well when you're doing the studies. And of course, it's very important to take some breaks and living the life. You have to go out with friends. You have to live the life with your partner as well. So it's very important that you set some rules when you're working, when you're studying, and when you are in the life with your friends and partners. And for me, it's working fine.
Okay, great. Thanks. So there was a question. I don't have any knowledge of this field, but have a background from design. Where can I find practical and visual examples of the actual work that a front-end developer does? Thanks. A great place to see examples of what a front-end developer does, probably GitHub, where you can look at repositories and see what happens there. We also have a number of our tutorials that we have recorded available to watch on YouTube. So that's a nice way of being able to see a little bit of kind of some of our tutorials. I'd say those are kind of the two really good ways. The basis of front-end development is three main languages of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML is for content, and CSS is for styling, and JavaScript is for interactivity and working with APIs. So basically, what like a front-end developer does is combine those three languages to be able to present information and data to clients. hope that's kind of given a little bit of a good insight there. Will we need to buy some books for my studies, or is everything online? Is worth saying we're in the process of working on some study plan updates, so I wouldn't buy any books right now. Books on like fundamentals that don't change are useful, but it is a highly dynamic industry that changes a lot very frequently. So it's very hard to write textbooks for an industry that is changing so fast, because what's a best practice today might not be your best practice in a few months. So for us, it's very important to be very flexible and adaptable to the changing environment. What hardware, software do I need? Should I get this in advance or wait? You really don't need very much like in terms of the capacity of a normal computer, is pretty fine. What we're doing when you're writing code is essentially just editing text. So if your computer runs fine doing most normal functions, it should be fine for this program. We do have some specifications, don't have them to hand with me right now, but if that person would like to get in touch, they can drop me an email and I can send them the general specs we give. But most normal computers can handle front-end development. It's not like a subject like design where you're running like big applications like Photoshop and Illustrator.
Just adding to the question, MJ, do you suggest any books? So we don't, like MJ said, we don't recommend you having any books pre-hand, but we do give you access to some extra resources like LinkedIn Learning and things where you can go and read and prepare and stuff. So I think the learning management system that we use also covers like almost all the content that you need. So you don't really have to, have any books.
There's another question. What is the difference between front end and back end? So that line is increasingly blurred as JavaScript becomes more and more dominant with things like Node.js. So that line is getting slightly blurred, but the general idea is that a back-end developer sets up APIs and ways of managing data, and the front-end developer takes that data and uses it to display to an end user. Kind of the personality difference perhaps of a front-end developer and a back-end developer. Front-end developer enjoys seeing what they have done visually, whereas a back-end developer enjoys seeing what they've done conceptually, because it's a more conceptual, and part of why we add that design course in the front is so that you can have a bit of a grounding in terms of how to present things well in code. There's a question, what are the exams like? Linus, do you want to take that one?
Yes. Yeah, the exam is often building on all the models we are doing during the course. So first we get all the models. It's different. Sometimes it's only a course on 3 weeks, maybe, and another course maybe in some 5 weeks. But we always get the model. We all get the content that we are trying to learn, and we're building some small tests. And when we are finished with all the models and come to the exam, we should try to build something out of all the models and all the learning we have learned during the course. Sometimes it could be that we have to build a website, for example, a museum, or maybe a web shop, or maybe a restaurant. And then we have to build all the designs from the scratch. We have to fix all the links and all the content that should be on the site, and set up some pictures to make it more accurate. So yeah, we get all the models and all the content that we should use in the course, and expected on the exam. So everything is in the course module, and we all get the information. Yeah, sometimes maybe we have to ask the teacher, maybe we have to use Google, maybe to learn a little bit more of some tricks. So, but we get all the information that we should use in the exam and in the course. So I really like it and I appreciate it.
There's another question. Is it easy to get a job after completing the program? Definitely. I mean, like you will have all the skills and the competence that are required to find out a job. But, you know, finding a job also depends on a lot of factors. I mean, you have to go through the interview. There is a lot of other criteria as well. It also depends on the grades that you get for your exams. So there is a lot of factors, but definitely you will have all the skills and the competence to get a job soon after the study.
I just wanted to mention when Linus was talking about the exams is, and Shabana talked about it in a presentation, that focus on practical. So it's not an exam like maybe in school where you had to learn a bunch of facts and then give it back. It's very practical. You work over 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the project. So you have a long project that you're working on as your exam, rather than it being like a stressful 2-hour sit down. Like that's not that approach. The aim is not that you feel stressed out by your studies. The aim is that you learn and feel like you can grow to be a front-end developer. A very interesting question came in about how will AI impact this field. I'm sure we're all very interested to find out that answer as things develop. It is very exciting what's happened, especially with things like ChatGPT. And certainly as teachers, we are very interested in this and keen to see how we can use it to improve life for students. I think it will naturally affect every industry. Certainly, there are ways that AI was already helping us before the ChatGPT, but it is now a little bit of a next step in another direction. And I think what's probably going to happen is that people will be increasingly required to be able to bridge the gap that the AI can't. So the conceptualizing and understanding a wider flow is going to be more important. And what I really want for my students is that they become really good problem solvers. Like that's the bit that is the key. It's not so much remembering exactly the right code to it's not memorizing code. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to get really good problem solvers, because that's what the industry wants, and that's how we can work in a future industry with so much AI.
I think we have the same kind of question again. I'm very excited to start on March and concerned about AI. We are excited to having you as well. But then I hope Michael has already covered the AI part of the question. Yeah.
What I'd like to find out from Linus is a bit about how he finds the collaboration with other students and with his coach. How do you find the dynamic kind of there?
I think we have really good tools actually. If you all know that we're using almost Discord, it's more like a chat, would I say, with different channels. There we can collaborate with other students. We can ask the teachers, and we can also ask the other students about how they solved different things, and if someone could maybe help them with something. And we also have a forum on the Discord channel where you can ask really basic questions, maybe general question about some specific code or maybe a specific language, or it could be everything. And it's up to all to answer. Maybe I can, if I sit in on the answer, I can go to the forum and give the student the answer, or the teacher can jump in and also collaborate with that question and answer. And then also we have, every time we are sending in the exam, we also have peer-to-peer. That means that I can go in and look to other students' work. I can give a comment on their work. If the design was good or if the code was good, then I can maybe give them some help and give them some feedback about what they should think about or what maybe I have done. And then also the other students can comment on my work. And before the exam, before we also send it to a teacher that also will give their feedbacks back to us. If they mean that we need to change something, and they will give us some maybe positive feedback or negative that they mean that we should think more about. So yeah, I think the collaboration with other students, even if it's online, it's working really good. And in some courses, we also have some group sessions that we can work 2 and 2 and 3 and 3 or maybe 4. And then we also have small meetings online with video and microphone, talk to each other, or maybe chatting together in the Discord channel. So it's working really good, even if you study online. You have good collaboration with students and teachers and maybe students on other years as well, because they have done maybe the course before you, and maybe have some more experience and could help you as well. So I think it's working really good.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. That's really nice. And that ability to develop your evaluative judgments, that you are able to read someone else's code and understand how to give positive feedback to help them improve, is a very important industry relevant skill, that you are going to be reading lots of other people's code and providing feedback on that code through things like pull requests. So we try and have that flow of pull requests that you would have in industry also happening in the studies as well, so that we can match the skills you need to have and those soft skills. You'll often hear people talking about soft skills at the moment, and that's exactly what we're trying to develop there, where students collaborate together. I saw there's a question about the difference between front end and UX. So UX is good, and it's useful for a front-end developer to know and understand UX. Don't have to be an expert at it, but understanding why things are laid out in a certain way to provide the best user experience for the user is useful to know. UX does things more like prototyping and user testing and things like that.
Yeah, but we also do cover a lot of user experience in the courses that we offer. So you do gain skills on user experience.
Yeah. I was interested to know, Linus, about that group work project. How did you find that in terms of in industry knowledge, where you're working on like a real world open source project that is going to be a long-term project? How did that go?
I think that was a really good experience, because we met some new tools that we had to use on, for example, GitHub, how we should use our pull request so we don't destroy any other codes, only our own. So it was actually a really good experience to work as a front-end developer. You had collaboration with other students that was first making the design of the website, and my team that was working on the front end had to build the code and the design that the design team had done. And we also had another team that was working a little bit on the back end with API and so on. So it was really good experience to see how it is to work in a team in a real world project. And we get some positive feedback from the teachers that we were working good, and it was really good actually.
I think we are done with all the questions. So thank you, all of you, for taking the time to join us today. And we look forward to having you with the next school year. Bye-bye.